This is our last ship from Wave 13. This time it's the independent Gorn ship, the Gornarius. Who comes up with these names? Anyway, we'll get right in and take a look. I have to say first off that I'm actually happy now that I'm looking at this. This one is actually completely different than the prize pack one, unlike the Tholian ship that was identical except for a couple cards they threw in extra. So it makes the fact that you could run both of them together and still use the name and still use some of the upgrades on them, because not everything is unique. Definitely a better way to go with that one. I'm still pissed about the Tholian ship, but anyway, we'll get right in and take a look at this one. Here we have our Gorn Raider dial. Independent faction. It's exactly the same as the previous Gorn Raider. Got that 4 forward in there is really nice. That 3 come about's nice. There you see our Gorn Raider. And you can see it's got decent maneuverability. The 3 hard turns are red. It's got that nice 3 come about in there. Lacking the 1 tight turns, but other than that, pretty nice. Not a very speedy ship. Tops out at 4, but doesn't really need it with that kind of maneuverability. There we have our name, Gornarius. 3 attack, 1 agility, 3 hull, 4 shield. 1 tech upgrade, 1 weapon upgrade, 1 crew upgrade. 22 points. Evasive, target lock, scan, and battle station. Nice little layout there. When attacking with your primary weapon, if you inflict a critical damage to an enemy ship's hull, you may search the damage deck for a structural damage or weapon malfunction card instead of drawing a random damage card, and then reshuffle the deck when you're done. Seen a lot of these things that let you pick specific damage cards now. Definitely in the right situation that could be useful. As the named ability, it's kind of lame, but those are 2 pretty good ones, so definitely worth making use of there. The fact that it's reusable is what makes it really nice. We have our generic Gorn starship. You lose 1 shield on there. You lose your weapon upgrade slot for 20 points. This one's exactly the same as the previous generic. For our captains, this time we actually get someone with names instead of Gorn Commander, Gorn Captain. Don't ask me to pronounce it. Cestus. Yeah, that's the closest you're going to get. For 5, Captain scale of 5, 1 elite talent for 3 points. When attacking during the modify attack dice step, you can convert 1 blank into a battle stations or 1 battle stations into a hit. Nice little ability there. Next up we have Slar. I actually think that picture is from Enterprise. There was 1 episode where they went back into the mirror universe, I believe. And there was a Gorn on board the ship, and I think that's where that image came from, but he looks awesome. Anyway, it's captain in skill of 3 for 2 points. And it'll let you field the Salvage elite talent upgrade, even though he doesn't have an elite talent slot, which is nice. Then we have our generic Gorn captain. Captain skill 1, 0 points. For elite talents, we have faked messages. 5 points. During the planning phase, after every ship's maneuver has been chosen, you may discard this card to target 1 enemy ship that's not within range 1 to 3 of your ship. Force that ship to change its maneuver to a 1 forward. Very interesting. Can use it to break up formations. You can use it to slow down an enemy ship and basically tie them up for a turn. 5 points for a discard. It's kind of rough, but can see where it would have its uses. Tactically, it's an interesting card, especially if your opponents aren't expecting it. But 5 points is a bit steep for that. Take it or leave it. The ability is kind of nice. I can definitely see where it would come in handy. Next we have Salvage for 4 points. If a ship's destroyed within range 1 to 2 of your ship, you may discard this card and disable all your active shields to steal a tech or weapon upgrade at a cost of 5 points or less from that ship, even if it exceeds your ship's restrictions. If you do, place a disabled upgrade on the stolen upgrade and place an auxiliary power token beside your ship. A lot of restrictions on this one. but it could definitely come in handy to pick up some really interesting things that your opponent wasn't expecting. They got to be within range of 2. You have to lower your shields, which makes you a target. Hopefully you just blew somebody up so there's nothing in range that's going to be able to shoot back, so that shouldn't be too much of a problem. The upgrade cost has to be 5 SP or less. I'm assuming that's before penalties, so it's actual card value printed on them. And then when you put it on your ship, it gets an upgrade and you get an auxiliary power token. So lots of restrictions. The ability to steal equipment, though, is always fun. Who knows, you might be able to pick up something really useful. This is the one that the Captain Slar lets you take, even though he doesn't have the elite talent. So that's kind of cool too, and it's actually him in the picture again. I have one crew for this expansion. It's the Gorn raiding party. 5 points. As an action, if your ship's not cloaked, disable all of your remaining shields and target a ship at range 1 to 2 that's not cloaked. Target ship must disable 2 of its active shields if possible. If the target ship has no active shields, or if this action causes the target ship to have no shields, discard this card and disable all upgrades on the target ship. Definitely nice against things like the Federation who run crew-heavy ships, or anything running Romulans running a tech-heavy ship. If you can knock out that last shield with this, or if they don't have any shields when you go to use it, knocking out or disabling all of their upgrades is killer to those kind of ships. 5 points for a discard, another one of those that I'm not a huge fan of. The interesting thing, the way I read it, is if it doesn't take out their last shield, you get to keep this, because that last line is only an if line. As far as my reading goes, unless they read it later on, you can spend this action to lower 2 of their shields, spend this action the next turn to lower 2 of their shields until they have no shields, and then the discard ability goes off. The fact that it's reusable in that aspect makes it a little useful. 5 point discard's kind of rough, but if you know you're going to be going against those upgrade heavy ships, or if you're playing some kind of scenario where you know you're going to be facing against like a dreadnought build where they're going to have a maxed out ship with lots of upgrades, definitely worth the points in that respect. For our weapon upgrades, we have targeted phaser strike, 4 points, range 1 to 3 for attack. Disable to perform the attack. In addition to inflicting normal damage, every hit or crit result, you get to disable 1 weapon upgrade on the target ship up to a maximum of 2. Cost plus 4 SP for anything other than Gorn Raiders. Definitely an interesting weapon. 4 attack dice, the ability to knock out secondary weapons. Good against things like a torpedo boat, or anything relying on like a dorsal phaser array type weapon to get that 360-degree arc, things like that. Definitely a useful upgrade. 4 attack alone isn't even anything to shun on. Most of the smaller ships nowadays have a 2 attack, so you can throw it on there. I think most of the Gorn, or both the Gorn ships, have a 3 attack, so even that's a slight upgrade over their main weapon, which is nice. For tech upgrades, we have Impulse Overload. 5 points. Discard this card to target a ship at range 1 of your ship. Roll 3 attack dice. If you roll at least 1 hit or crit result, the target ship must discard 1 tech upgrade of its choice. Kind of nice. The fact that they get to choose kind of ruins it. Again, 5 point discard. Not a fan of those. Take it or leave it. Next up, we have Jam Communications for 5 points. All ships within range 1 to 3 of your ship, including your own, cannot provide or benefit from any text abilities that affect other friendly ships this round. Place an auxiliary power token beside your ship. Definitely an interesting one. The fact that it hurts you as much as it helps you. Good against Federation or Klingon, things that are running fleet captains or flagships. They give you bonuses to all friendly ships. Good against Denatra, things like that. Next we have improved deflector screens. 4 points. When defending, during the compare results step, if you have any active shields, cancel 1 hit or crit result. Discard this upgrade if all your shields are destroyed. This upgrade can only be purchased for a ship with a hull value of 3 or less. No ship can be equipped with more than one improved deflector screens. Basically, as long as you have one shield remaining, you're not going to hit off of an attack. So if they're only hitting you with one, it just basically ignores it, which is nice. And anything higher than that, you're still removing one from every damage until your shields are gone. Definitely a nice little thing. 4 points is a little steep, but it can drastically improve the amount of time your ships can survive. For the rest of the expansion, you got your scan battle stations and evasive tokens. You have 4 shields, normal, auxiliary, and crit tokens. Target lock E2 this time. A couple disables for your various upgrades. A whole swarm of reminder tokens for jammed communications. Your mission this time around is the ambush at Cestus III. If I had to guess, it's probably based on the TOS Star Trek episode where Kirk met up with the Gorn and had to fight on the planet. And I believe there's actually rules. Yep, there's actually rules for beaming down an away team to the planet and then fighting on the planet. There was a OP event for the original arena. I'm pretty sure it's going to be close to that. Again, I haven't played the missions. I'm so far behind on them. I keep saying that, I know. The ship itself's kind of cool looking. It's pretty bland silver. There isn't a lot of paint. There isn't a horrible amount of detail in there to actually bring out with stuff, but some dry brushing and things, you can do all sorts of stuff to it. Same model we had for the previous one. This one's not warped like my other ones, the nacelles are actually straight on it, which is kind of nice. And despite how many people I see in videos online, this is the back of the ship, not the front. It actually flies this way. I think it kind of looks interesting this way, but definitely it flies the other way around. There wasn't a really good model of this in the show to base these on, so I think they did a pretty good job considering. But it's not a terrible model. Definitely needs something, like I said, some dry brushing on there would probably do the trick. And we have our base for the Gornarius. 90-degree front arc. Same goes for the generic. Lack of a rear arc on these kind of sucks. Would have liked to see that. All in all, it's a pretty good expansion. Another big addition to the independent faction. They have all sorts of stuff to play with. So definitely a lot of cool stuff for indie-wise there. If you're looking to play Gorn pure, now that we have 2 ships, various upgrades, there's a lot to choose from that. So that even becomes a somewhat viable faction. The ship itself is a little fragile, but multiples of them would probably be a pretty good force to be reckoned with. The fact that they're only 22 points means you could run 4 or 5 of them in a fleet. So there's always that aspect of things. It definitely has some interesting possibilities here. I love the fact that they used the new artwork for the Gorn, for the one captain and the one upgrade there. And I love the fact that everything in here is different than the prize pack. I really hope they stick with that kind of way of doing things later. I have no problem getting a reprint of a ship that's already been out, especially if it originally came out as an OP prize. But make the cards different so the OP prize actually remains valuable. If you look online, those Tholian ships are actually going, the OP ones are actually going for cheaper than it is to go out and buy a normal expansion now, because the normal expansion comes with everything that's in that plus more. So it's kind of a letdown to anybody who earned those. Whereas the Gornarius ship, the one of them that came from the prize pack, this one still offers lots of stuff to go on top of what was in that. So definitely hope they're going to stick with that in the future. Definitely worth getting if you're a fan of Gorn, if you're a fan of independence. Lots of options in here, and that's about it for this one. We'll see you in the next wave.